the indicators, the scanner window, which you see over here on the left, and it's got multiple symbols in multiple time frame zones, has several columns in it. The first column here is the THD volume divergence indicator. And anytime I'm getting volume divergence, it would be marked in this column. Volume divergence in that column is important to me if price is at an ATR, if price is at a congestion dot, or if the ADX is greater than 70. So if you're scanning down the columns right now, you can see pretty much everything is below 70. So I don't really have any markets right now that are classified either as overbought or oversold. Of course, the ADX is the next column, and again, I'm looking for anything that is above 70 to tell me whether we have something that's overbought or oversold. Red would be oversold, blue would be overbought. You can see we do not have those conditions met. We do have a magenta peak on gold, and that tells us that price should retrace back to this ATR, okay? Now, to trade that, we would go down to the 3-minute, and we would look at volume divergence as this approached the ATR. You can see that we had volume divergence here at the close of this bar. You would be risking, I would say, about 15 ticks. Your first profit target off of that would be 30 ticks, okay? So if your entry was at 1237, you would want it to move up to 1240.1 to take your first profit target. Everybody understand that? Now, what's going to stop this trade from giving you 40 ticks? Well, you've got an ATR up here at 1239. That's before you get to your 30 tick profit target. You have an ATR here. This one is not in the way. So this is the one that's going to get in the way of your trade. Does everybody understand that one? What do you mean, Christian? Are you on the J contract? What way does it look different? Let me make sure it's on the right session. That's the only thing that would change it. Are you on the FX Globex? Is it CME FX futures or CME futures? It has to be on FX futures. The bar at 7:57 this morning is the one that flipped the ATR. Actually gave you a congestion dot above. Does everybody understand that based on this profit target and the 12-minute, which is the time period that is greater than the 3-minute, immediately above the 3-minute, because this ATR is here, it could potentially stop you out. Does everybody understand that? It's getting in the way of your profit target, in other words. Okay. The way that I see it on gold right now, I would just take a wait and see approach, because there's potential for this not to retrace. Okay, let's go look at crude. Okay, on crude, we are at the ATR on the 180. And do you see how it's formed this congestion area on the 45-minute? So this could potentially bounce to the upside. But you see, even on the 3-minute, you have a congestion area. You have a congestion area on the 12-minute. You know, in this case with crude, I would take a wait and see approach. To me, it's not showing me up or down. It's showing me congestion on 3 different time frames, knowing that the 180-minute should support price because there's an ATR there. I'm not interested in trying to trade this market. I would wait, let it develop, let it determine what direction it's going to go in, then I would try to take a trade. But right now, it's not the time to take a trade. If you waste your trades on areas like this, then when the good trades come in, guys, you won't be able to take them. Okay? All right, let's go look at the NASDAQ. Right now, the NASDAQ is flipping this ATR. It's come up to the congestion dot, and you can see that right now there's not a lot of volume coming in there. Do y'all see that? Now, that bar is going to end in 20 minutes. Okay? This, again, you know, I would be anticipating looking at this, knowing that it goes up to the congestion dot and then typically pulls back. Okay? You've got a potential for a magenta peak here. You know, you've got divergence here. You've got sellers coming in and then divergence on these highs. I would wait because I think it's going to pull back. Okay. That would be a retracement back to the ATR or to around 42.28. Then I would look for an entry. Again, I wouldn't be too enthusiastic about it this morning. Everybody understand that one? You know, the one thing with trading, it's our job to trade, okay? But it's part of that job is trading the good trades. If the magenta peak comes in, then you could look for a Buddha trade, and it would be to the downside because this would be retracing back to the ATR. But again, you've got an ATR sitting right below you over here on the 12-minute chart. So it's still going to have to break this 12-minute. And the 12-minute might actually hold it up. It's something to watch. Okay, let's go to the Dow. Now on the Dow, you already see that price is at a congestion dot. It's telling you that here on the 720-minute chart. So do you see how you had this line of congestion dots here? And you also see that sellers never really stepped into that market, so it is moving up. Okay. Now on the Dow, notice you're not getting a congestion dot. Okay. It has broken through this top level here, so it may come back and test this level. Does everybody have sound this morning? Yeah, my voice is a little bit low this morning, George. Huh. I'm trying to get in Zen mode. I'll try to speak louder, but it's a little hard this morning, so. Okay, so basically I think the Dow is going to go up today as it stands right now, especially because you see that buyers are controlling the lows right here. This has not made a new low yet. So I would be looking for a potential long right now as long as it is maintaining that breakage of the ATL. Crude, there is not a trade yet. You've got congestion zones on the 3-minute, you've got congestion zones on the 12-minute, and you've got congestion zones on the 45-minute. It's the only way that I would really be interested in taking a trade at the moment on crude would be to see this come back and test the ATR on the 45-minute, then I would look to go long. But right now, I don't see anything. As far as the NASDAQ goes, this is forming a congestion dot. Normally that tells me it's going to come back to the ATR. We're probably going to get a magenta peak down here that's going to cause this to retrace. I would be waiting for that before I take a trade on the NASDAQ this morning. Okay, let's go and look at the S&P 500. On the S&P 500, you do see you've had this line of congestion dots here. It's currently flipping the ATR now. Okay, so this tells me that we may continue up. I think the only thing substantial is looking at the volume when that ends this morning. It could be that if this divergence holds, okay, and we get an inside bar next, which would be from 9 to 12, okay, then you could see this come down to the ATR, okay? That would actually form a magenta peak here, so you would get that retracement. Otherwise, it's just to the upside. Does everybody understand that one? If you get the volume divergence between this bar and this bar, then you could see a retracement down to this ATR. That ATR is right at 2035 right now. The ATR on the 45-minute is 2040. That would cause a magenta peak to appear here, and that's going to give you that retracement. Preventing the magenta peak on the 45-minute. In other words, let's say that we don't get a retracement. We don't get the magenta peak on the S&P 500 or the Dow. Then you're only looking for longs. Because everything is saying up, up, up. Why would you go against it? Everybody understand that now? Okay, and let's go look at the DAX, my favorite. If you get a magenta peak on the 45-minute, it will retrace to the ATR on the 45-minute. Otherwise, only long positions. Now, on the DAX, it's slightly a different picture, okay? On the DAX, you have an ATR that is right up above you at about 10,818, okay? So this is the one that I would be very cautious on today, because we all know that if it does not flip this ATR, more likely than not, it will come down. So far, they have approached the ATR on an increasing volume, so I would want it to tick at least to 10,801 on the DAX. Then I could actually look at the volume again. If the volume is still increasing, we may see that ATR broken. Remember that the DAX does follow the Dow, okay? So this could break the ATR based on what the Dow is doing today. Does that mean I'm going to go long on the DAX? No. You know, it's got to show me that it has the power to go up, okay? All right, someone wants to look at gold. Uh, this is where Europe opened. And then you had a down movement. You have the magenta peak actually came in at 245 this morning. So we have to go back on the 3-minute. Let's see if I can pull that up. We know where it came in at. You had a bunch of entries on that one, Suzette. Okay, this is where you're at the ATR. Okay. You had increasing volume here, decreasing volume here. So that's one entry. There it is. So you had one entry here. It moves down. Comes back to test the ATR again here. That's the second entry. Okay, you move down, you come back, you test it again there. That entry right there. So there's 3 entries. And all of those were pretty low risk. I mean, if you did, it gave you multiple opportunities if you really look at it, because you had an entry here. If you didn't take that one, then you had another one here. If you didn't take that one, well, looky, looky, you got another one right there. Okay. On this one, buyers decreased. Let's see if I can do this. Nope. Nope. But I mean, visually, you can see that there was more buyers in this bar than it was in this bar. Decrease in buyers means down. And every one of them made money this morning. But that's what I'm talking about. Wait and let it set up. Does that answer your question, Suzette and Christian? You have to weigh them together, Arteman. It has more weight if it flips to the downside. I was trying to... Okay, on this one here, Arteman, delta increased on this bar and then decreased in that bar, okay? Would I get excited about that? No, not really. I would want to see it flip to the downside. They still maintained control. Even though they decreased, they maintained control. You say, oh, but you missed a trade. Well, that's not my trade. Do you understand that? Technically, is it volume divergence on the deltas? Yes, it's technically volume divergence on the delta. Does that tell me it's going to come back and test this low? No, because buyers are still in that bar. On what bar, Christian? You don't have an entry there. On the red bar? That's not your entry. Why would you take it? Are you going to take it just because it turned red? And I mean, that's an important question. You don't have divergence. Is this bar as high as this bar? No, it's not. Um, let's go over divergence again because y'all were getting confused over divergence. What is divergence? Divergence is, here's a price bar, and I'm not going to draw wicks. Just presume that this is the high. You understand? Now I got lots of little price bars. Volume bars, price bars, whatever they are. I got them on here. I'm going to play with bars this morning because y'all having some issues with this. This bar is higher. This bar is higher, okay? On the volume, and I'm going to turn this green so everybody will know that this is a volume bar, okay? And we're not even going to work with the delta yet because you're not ready to work with the delta if you don't see this first. Okay, I'm going to put a 0 line here so that way I can align my little bars. Okay. Now, we're going to draw some lines on here, and y'all going to have to go back and watch this because it's the most important concept you can actually conquer. Okay? This is exactly what you anticipate. Price is going higher, volume is going higher. Okay? All right. Now, if this does that, it is divergence. Why? Price is going in one direction, volume is going in the opposite direction. It should not do that. All right? Is that divergence? No. Why? Why is that not divergence? Because actually they're in agreement. If you think about it, okay, you made a lower high and you made a lower high in volume. Is that volume divergence? No. It's doing what you anticipate. So let's go back over here to the scenario that you talked about. And let me find my little thing here. Okay. Lower high in volume. Is that divergence? And this is the biggest mistake that I see y'all make. Are they going in the same direction? Yeah. Is it divergence? No. Understand? All right. Now, that is correct. You would need a higher high. Okay? Now, That's simple volume divergence. I'm going to bring this back up here. Okay, we got a higher high. We have a lower high. That would be volume divergence. Okay, but what if we had a lower high here? Well, it's still a higher high. Okay, do y'all see that? It's still going up. And now I'm going to take this volume bar up here. What is wrong with that picture? And this is the hardest divergence possible. Volume is increasing. Buyers are coming in, but they are absolutely not being rewarded. With that much volume, that damn thing should have exploded. It didn't. That's the hardest divergence, okay? You just had a scenario on gold of just exactly what I just drew for you. All right, look at that. Shouldn't that volume right here, shouldn't it have moved it up higher? Wouldn't you think? They put everything they could put into it. Don't you think it should have went higher? Christian, this is the same concept, okay? Why did I know to draw my line right there? Because visually I can snap a line there and look. There's something right here. Okay? I said, wait a minute. That volume doesn't look right, does it? It's coming back to a double top area right here. That's what it's doing. It's forming a double top. Okay? They did it on stronger volume and got nowhere. Okay, something's up in there. They're going to pop it down. What did they do? They popped it down. Do y'all see that? Now, there's a lot of people in here that, and this is why I love the ATR, okay? They could have thought, well, you know, that's really insignificant. There's no volume divergence here, blah, 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 okay? Do you see how the ATR pulled down to that level? Do you see that? That means it was significant. Pay attention. It's significant. It might look like it's out in the middle of nowhere, but it is significant. And you better be listening when it's talking to you. Do you understand that? And how did I know to pay attention? How did I know? Don't even think about trading this one. This one was great, okay? Why would I not trade that one? Because that one made a ton of money. Because I happen to notice that we're at an ATR up here, which changes the significance of this. This is saying down. This is saying up, okay? Which one is probably going to have more power? Ta-da! Higher time frame. And if that wasn't enough, this is probably the flattest peak. What happens on a flat peak? It comes back to test the low. What confirms that? Okay? You're at an ATR up here. Anybody listening? Do you understand? Right. It builds, guys. That's the reason I use multiple time frames. Why would I want to see it one more tick up at an ATR level? Because the volume bar is gray. That's why. And I'm looking for a high. So I need it to tick up one more tick to give me that high. Because that's what changes it blue. Great example right here. Okay? That bar is gray because this bar did not go higher than this bar right here. That's why. Price action is incorporated into the volume bars. That's why it is a volume price indicator. Okay? That's why it works together with price. But if you do not know what colors these bars, you're not going to understand the indicator. Okay? And that's the reason you're not reading volume correctly. Now, someone wants to give an no, sorry. I've got to go back to the question because I know the question, but I can't remember how they worded it. Can you clear up for me the difference between limit orders and market orders? I am under the impression that market orders move market, but limit orders are passive. That's not necessarily correct. They work on both. Okay? During London, you will typically see that the limit orders will actually be more important typically than market orders. But when the U.S. market opens, you better be paying attention to market orders because they do work off of market orders more. It depends on the session. But, I mean, really, if you think about it, it would make sense. Okay? Which country has probably the most hedge funds? I would just about bet it was the U.S. Okay, if you look up hedge funds or you look up market makers, there's going to be more in the U.S. than there are in the European session or the Asian session. Does that mean that the delta will not work during those hours? No, it does not. Because, you know, it's sort of like me, okay? I always have the markets on. I live it, I breathe it, okay? So if I see a good move coming in, then I'm going to trade it, okay? And typically when I go in on market orders. I don't go in on limit orders, okay? I come out on limit orders. Do y'all understand that? Well, the thing of it is, most market orders going into the market, Suzette, can be on market orders, especially during the U.S. session, okay? But they're going to be coming out on limits, okay? Now, during the European session, they'll even go in on limit orders because I sit and watch them. No, the hash is delta. The wick is limits, Dave. It's vice versa. These are the market orders. Okay, the limit orders is the entire bar. Does everybody understand that? Let me see. I hadn't done this in a while. I don't know if I can get it up or not. But let me try. Let's see if this goes. It's going to take a minute to load this chart. Okay. All right. Do y'all see here? This is the high that we were comparing to before. All right. This is market orders up here. This is limit orders down here. Do you see that? All right. Now, we're going to come over here. Do y'all see this one? So you went from here to here. And this is going to be harder to see. Let me see if I can stretch it out. Oops, wrong one. All right. This one, I want to shrink back down. And go here. Yep, we're back at it. Okay. So we're here. And then we come over here. Okay. Now, let me status that off a minute. I had to see where it was at. Now I can draw my little squiggly lines. So on this one, you're pretty much coming down. There's your volume divergence. On this one, it shows that limit orders went up. Do y'all see that? We have combined these two into this one indicator here. Do y'all understand that? So even though this said, okay, they're going up, the price itself said, no, they're not. Now, watch this. You just made this low right here, right? What's happening on the delta? Do you see this? The market orders are buying. The limit orders were going down. Do you see this little hash mark right there? That told me the same story. Do y'all see that? Now, why? I mean, this is free. I could use this for free. Yeah, you can. Okay? But I'll tell you what, I bet you catch it on this one before you catch it on these two. And that's what you pay for. Do you understand now? Because you would need this for every time frame I trade. I couldn't do that on every time frame I traded. So I developed the volume indicator. That's right. The buyer stepped in on that bar. Okay? Right. It means that as this low was made, buyers stepped in to that bar. Does that mean I think the market's going to go up? No, I still think it's going to go down. I still think there has more downward movement to it. It just means they're going to come in and now and test to see if buyers are interested in it. On the 3-minute, they're decreasing, and on the 12-minute, you see that they're controlling the low right now. In other words, buyers are coming in, and there's only 3 minutes left to this bar. Okay, is this profit taking right now? Probably. Do you understand that a little bit better now? No, I don't use total volume. I mean, you could add the buyers and the sellers and get total volume, but it's a worthless number to me. I don't want to see total volume. I want to see how many buyers and how many sellers there were. Because, you know, Artiman, that's like asking how many people went into Walmart. Okay? It doesn't really matter. How many people bought at Walmart is what matters. Because Walmart may get 500,000 people in the door, but if they only sold $10, they wouldn't be in business, would they? And that's why I don't really care about total volume. Yeah, a lot of people use total volume, and you have to if you're trading dailies and weeklies, okay? Because they don't give us the information. So you're using the next best thing to it. And if you're trading longer term time frames, that's what you have to do. Because we can only use what they give us access to. Does everybody understand that a little bit better now? Thank you. It is a lot of information to digest. And I realize, I make it look very easy. I realize that. But, I mean, I've been doing it for a while. An iceberg order? I've never heard of that, Suzette. And I know that there's a lot of people that put a lot of fancy terminology to the volume. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's basically either buyers or sellers, and either it's confirming price or it's not. And if it's not, you better watch out. And that's really uh, the simplest way that I can explain it. A fancy name or fancy explanation is not going to get it. Yeah. Yeah, but it still shows through the volume, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, and we're not going to be picking those orders up because it's really not volume. Either price is confirming volume or it's not. Oh, I'm glad you told me what it was, Dave. But again, it doesn't go into the volume. It's sort of like hitting it at 50 lots at a time, Dave. So nobody knows it's really 10,000. Delta's market orders. Well, they have to hide, um, because otherwise it would be too easy to trade. We'd all know everybody's going long, so just jump on board. Of course, our volume indicator shows that as well. Yeah, you've had volume divergence. Between here and here, it's a double bottom. It's right here. They should go back up and test for buyers again. And they may go right back up to this level and test again. Yeah, it was. The top was based on market orders, Dave. The bottom was based on limit orders. That's how I learned volume. And you want to talk about some headaches? You study those charts, you'll have some headaches. And I was looking at that on a 3-minute to 12-minute, 45, and a 180. I bought cases of ibuprofen. Not a bottle, but cases. And it's not to say that it's a bad trading methodology, because it's not. I just can't keep up with all of it. You can even tell, well, not statistically. You can even see how many are net positive and net long using those charts. But I don't really care. It's information I don't need to know. If you're studying a cumulative delta chart, it will actually show you a representation of, there's, I don't know why I pulled that up. There's, this morning I think it was negative 5,000 that were still short in gold. Okay? And some people trade off of those zones. I don't do it. And I don't do it because I found it just comes back to these areas anyway, so why am I wasting my time with it? Yeah, it takes, a while to get the typical volume divergence. And I mean, by far, the easiest one to begin with is this one. That's the easiest one. Okay? And then you will go on and you'll be able to do, you know, volume reading where it comes back and it makes a double top. Okay? And I'm not going to draw all of those. I'm just going to put one over here. And this will be the one, and normally this is what happens. Come on now, work with me here. Okay, so now you've got one over here, and come on, work with me here. What you forget to do, and Christian, this is what you sometimes forget to do, is you come back to this high here, okay, and let's say it at least came to that line. Well, now you have volume divergence, and this is what we saw on gold. You see volume divergence here, okay? And what you forget is that, okay, here's your ATR. And over here, the ATR could have been, up here. This is something I can use. I'm at an ATR, and if I just snap a line on there, like I showed you on gold this morning, what's going to happen, I'm going to go back and I'm going to read this volume and say, oh yeah, we're decreasing here. Do you see how sellers are coming in on that bar? They're controlling it. Do y'all see that? These are things that I pay attention to. Well, this is where it makes double tops and double bottoms, okay? And the ATR is phenomenal at picking these areas up. The problem is y'all get so involved with this chart that actually this was the chart that you should have been paying attention to today. Yeah, and they'll be close by. Don't worry, they will be close. You will not have to look back days and days and days and days to find it. It's going to be staring you right there in the face, just like it was this morning. Do y'all understand that? If you are at an ATR, Suzette, whether it's commodities or forex or anything, if it's on a higher time frame, you better pay attention because it's significant. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end the session this morning. I'm not totally up to par yet, so we're gonna have a short session today. Any questions? I do have this recorded, so I'll put it up later today. All right, I hope everyone has a wonderful morning. I thank you for joining me. I think we had a great discussion on volume divergence. All right, everybody have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Okay?